right. Well, we are live. Pansy's taking us live on her side, but yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. It's Friday. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Welcome, everyone. Good to see
Yeah.
you.
Pansy and I were working a little bit earlier, putting together some stuff for her consulting, let's say. And so we got that going on and so lot this was a busy week for me, but we made it. We made it through another one. So anyway, I appreciate everybody coming in. Thank you guys. We have a couple of people on with us tonight, some friends with us tonight that I am looking forward to having a conversation with. You know, it's one of those things like this is one of those topics where, it sounds inspiring on paper. You're like, oh, couples in business. Maybe it sounds inspiring to some folks, but anyone who's
I
actually
think
gone
it does.
through it,
I, I
yeah,
thought I wanted to do that. I mean,
yeah.
I did want to do that.
And it can be inspiring, right? It doesn't necessarily mean it's not. I'm just saying, like, anyone who's actually gone through it knows that it's one of those things that requires patience, communication, all the normal trust and a whole lot of grace, more than likely. And, building a business is already challenging enough as it is, and building one with your spouse, you know, just adds that additional layer of complexity entirely. And because your business partner is also the person you go home with and live with and build a life with, for some couples working together brings them closer, and I would imagine for others we know, I'm sure there's plenty of horror stories out there, right? I'm sure. But the most important thing obviously is building something together and making the business work, but also more importantly making the relationship work while you're doing it. And so I'm excited to have this conversation with James and Hayley, but we're gonna talk to them. We're gonna go through the whole gambit with them, but I'm interested to hear all of it, how they started and how they manage, the ups and downs together. These are important things because a lot of the people that even Pansy and I know, a lot of the really successful people we know are couples. That's the truth. A lot of power couples out there doing really, really well. And it's because they can bounce, they play on each other's strengths, at least the successful ones, right? They play on each other's strengths and make up for the gaps for each other. And that's the inspiring thing for me to see, because even if you're not in a couple based business situation, you should be building your team that way too, right? You should be looking for the people that can fill the gaps for you and see your blind spots and you see their blind spots, right? And even if they're not on your direct team, people you surround yourself with should be helping you with that, right? So anyways, I'm gonna bring them both up. Haley and James, how you guys doing?
Hey, Haley. Yeah, I wanted to say it's a rare opportunity to get Haley on here. For one, she doesn't really
For
like to
you,
go.
anything.
Oh, I love that.
If
But
anybody else asked, I'd be like, let me think about it.
well, I appreciate that, Haley, because we go back a few years now, and I know you like to hide from the camera and stay in the background a lot, and
Mhm.
I can appreciate that too.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
and plus I know it's very close to your bedtime, so I truly appreciate you for staying on with us tonight and you guys coming on and sharing. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the first time I'm meeting you, Haley, so it's good to meet you. And yeah,
Yeah.
definitely I second that. Thank you for coming on.
It's
Nice to
funny
meet
you
Yeah.
say
you.
that, Pansy, too, because that's right after we got off the phone with you that day. We were talking about the time frames, and she asked what time slot I chose, and then she's like, "Oh, you know what? That's fine for Pansy. I'll go past my bedtime. I'll do it for that."
I love you, girl. I love you.
Mhm.
Many
I
have tried,
appreciate
one
it.
has succeeded.
Well, I feel very blessed to be able to get that from you, and I
Oh,
understand.
weird.
You have your boundaries, and I appreciate you going a little bit out of your way to accommodate us. So
Oh
it
no,
means a lot.
it's fine. I wanted to. I was excited.
Yeah. So you go first. You tell us what's,
Me first.
yeah, ladies
Tell you
Yeah,
first.
what.
yeah. I mean, for folks who don't know you, Haley, just start us off with, like, where you hail from. How did you get started in all this? Like, give us a little rundown.
Oh, So probably about 4 years ago now, I was seeing, the ads for wholesaling and make all this money and do this, do that.
Mhm.
So, I started to tell James about it, and James, being kind of skeptical, was kind of like, oh, that's a scam. Then he started to look into it more, and we're looking at different programs. He chose Sub 2. I was looking at others. We settled on Sub 2.
Mhm.
I was working at the time. He wasn't working. So he was home kind of making calls. We
Mhm.
did the wholesaling thing for a little bit and then kind of got immersed into other things. We began working for another coaching company together within that, where I was doing the marketing and he was doing the integration. We were doing a little bit more than just that kind of, it was a startup. So we were doing a little bit of everything.
Right.
And then we left that, and then we kind of began doing James's coaching business, which
It's awesome.
has been so fun to kind
Yeah.
of work together. Like you said, kind of playing off our strengths and weaknesses a
Yeah.
lot. And the more we've been doing it together, I feel like the stronger we've been kind of getting with finding out more about ourselves, each other, in and outside of business and skill wise. So that's been great.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I bet you like, so with the real estate stuff, you guys were brand new to that stuff, right? When you started, or did you have any experience with it at all?
Oh
No,
no, brand new.
Brand new. Yeah. And
Dude,
isn't that
we're
funny?
talking experience level to the point that I used to hide in the bathroom and make calls so Haley couldn't even hear me talking to
Couldn't hear
people
how
and
bad you
just
were on the phone.
fumbling it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me, some of the worst. Yeah, I've got some horror stories on the phone too. In fact, not even that long ago. So, but you know
I
what?
still bumble myself on the phone when I get a seller
Yeah,
or an
yeah.
agent or something like I'm a buyer.
Yeah, I mean, you see people like Pace and others, they make it look so easy, right? Because they're just they have a knack for it, but also they've been doing it for a very long time. And you can tend to beat yourself up. And even when you're starting as a couple and you're like learning how this whole thing goes, I think it was Jesse Stanton or somebody was saying is like, isn't business funny how like one day you can be on top of the world and literally the next day feel like you're just the dumbest piece of shit on the planet? Like it just
I don't know if those
excuse,
were his exact
excuse
words,
my French, but
but
that's
I think we get
essentially
the
what he said.
point.
Yeah, well, just
Sorry, my
like,
chair's going rogue.
I
Your
mean,
chair's broke?
yeah,
Mine too.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like you can feel like awful, like literally the next day and be on top of the world the day after, right? And that's kind of
Sometimes in the same
That's
day.
just a day for me, up and
yeah,
down.
yeah,
Every minute too, sometimes.
yeah. It's true. It's true. So was working together like always part of the plan for you guys, Haley, or was that like building a business together, was that always kind of part of the plan or no?
No, not in the beginning. In the beginning, I was working and he was just at home making the calls.
Yeah,
And, like you said, it takes time. So after a while, I'm not super immersed in it. I'm like, what's going on? Why isn't it making money? Why aren't we making,
yeah,
$50,000 today? Like, what's
yeah.
going on? So there
Yeah,
was definitely a disconnect there. And I was a little bit in and out of the business, but he was kind of hammering it all
yeah,
day long. So
yeah,
that wasn't like super kind of great. That was kind of like learning, I guess, to work together. But then when we were both in the next venture, which was the coaching company together, we learned kind of to work better together. And then it kind of even better in his coaching company.
yeah.
We
Nice.
still had our moments when we were there. Like it's one of those, it was brought up on a Zoom before when it comes to like being able to make decisions and separate decisions with things.
Hmm.
And this was something that I know a lot of people find intriguing, I guess, because it's come up multiple times when I've worked with people. They're like, hey, so what if Haley disagrees with this or doesn't want to do that? It's like, well, even though we work together at such a capacity, there's still aspects of it that if Haley wants to go do something and wants to add something onto whatever it is that she's working on, like she's got full reign to be able to do it. And then it's the same thing over here. So
Yeah,
there are times where there are people that will converse with or will potentially talk about collaborating with that both of us might not agree with, but if the one individual does agree with, and it does work well under what they're doing and with them, it
Mhm.
it doesn't cause that animosity that it used to in the beginning. At least now
Right,
with
that
where
makes
we're at
sense.
with things. Yeah.
Yeah, you've kind of worked through sort of smoothed out that sort of process, right? With you guys. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I don't know how maybe what's the biggest reason you think you believed you could be successful and build a business like this as a couple? Like, because a lot of people, I talk to, set aside the most successful couples or whatever, but like most people, it's like, oh, she's doing her own thing and I'm kind of doing my whole thing. But it's the couples that really get together and believe they can actually do it. I know maybe it wasn't that way from the beginning, but was there a point where, like, maybe describe the point where you hit where you're like, this, we can really be successful doing this? Was it just like,
I would like to
after,
hear, I would like Haley to answer
Not
this
mine.
first,
I think ours
because
is the same, but
yeah,
I think it was
there
with
might be some subtle differences though. Some.
I think it was working within the other coaching company because it was just the two of us and two others who were, the partners of the business.
yeah,
And I think James and I saw eye to eye on a lot of things within the business that the other two did not. So
mhm,
that's kind of, and that kind of had its own friction there, not to kind of get into it, but I think that's kind of what strengthened us working together and seeing how well we work and think together. And then another point would probably be, after the idealistic phase of business kind of wears off and the more of the realism starts to set in and you're having
yeah,
conversations that are about doing things realistically. What do we want to make happen? How are we going to make it happen? Knowing how long it's going to take, putting pieces into place rather than just kind of shiny object or
yeah. And
yeah.
do you guys help each other with that? Like, because a lot of people get shiny object syndrome. Do you guys help kind of like
He
reel each
helps
other
me a
back
lot.
in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll bring something up that's kind of crazy. And it's to the point where he's told me so many times, I like that idea, or it's a good idea, but that's not what we're focused on. So
yeah,
now when I bring something up, I'll come to him and I'll say, this might be shiny object,
yeah,
but I was thinking.
yeah.
So
No, that's good though. That's good though. And it's not that, and I'm sure he's not saying like, look, that's all, it's a good idea, but don't ever think of it again and let's not ever pursue
oh
that. It's
no,
like, right?
No,
Yeah.
not at all. He's
we've
great
got a
at it and
parking
he's
lot.
keeping the focus.
Absolutely not. We're
And I
not
agree,
doing
we have to stay focused. So it's
Yeah.
good to hear that from
Yeah.
him about, why or why not it's good right now or good later, or we're
Yeah.
focusing on this. Cause ultimately you don't want to take away from the things that you're focused on, because that's kind of what makes things go.
Right.
That is the fast way, not
Yeah.
new things, staying focused.
Yeah. I was listening to a little while ago Tony Robbins talking about, like, he did this like post kind of out of nowhere, and he was like, we talk about this all the time, but it doesn't really get talked about enough, on its own. And that is like, if you want to be successful, what separates like the really successful people from the not really successful people is your capacity to do all of the boring stuff consistently. And really like absorb it, you know what I mean? And just do it. Put your head down and just do it and consistently do it. And that's not
Yeah.
what anybody wants to hear. That's like it's boring, right?
Mm.
That statement itself is boring, and it's not what everybody wants to hear, but it's the truth, right? And so if you can reel each other in, you can be like, oh, I'm gonna, this looks great, this looks great, this great, but you can reel each other in, then that's a huge win for
Yeah.
you guys as a couple.
And we actually had a conversation on one of so Chris Marie runs Zooms in the community, and
Yeah,
we actually touched on that in one of the Zooms and talked about the having to do the boring work.
yeah,
For many, yeah, I feel like that is a case, and you kind of throw around that phrase.
hmm,
But when it really comes down to, if you're building something with a true purpose, or if you're building something actual sustainable, depending on who you are as an individual, it's probably not boring. It's
yeah,
not.
yeah,
It
Yeah.
doesn't become boring. Like, there were a lot of things within the business that You know, Justin, you know, you and I have had conversations before where like,
Mhm.
yes, I like the integration side of things. I do like messing with the systems and tinkering, but I like it because of the tinkering. You throw structure into it. I'm not really that passionate about doing that. But
Mm,
that being said, who is there to do that in the business in the beginning when when we started this, like our actual business and where we're actually going, we started from less than scratch. Like we started from a hole that was dug over a year.
yeah,
And when you're starting from that position and everything's over, like your network is it's not the same that it was for many different reasons. You have to do all of that work. You're
yeah,
forced to do it.
yeah.
But I don't know, I don't find a lot of it boring now that I'm excited about what I do. So now it comes back to like, oh yeah, you talked about it. I don't have to. I get to do this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
Yeah.
definitely truth to that. Like
Yeah.
if you're like you're focused, you know where you're going and you're passionate about it, like yeah, even the boring stuff is like it becomes stuff like, well, we got to do it. I've got to do it, but I get to do it, and
Yeah.
it does feel good when you get it done too, right? Like there's that rewarding feeling afterwards too. Let me ask you this: in the early days or even now, like what's been, maybe harder than you guys expected? What's something that you guys have run into that's been more difficult than you expected?
Working together at one point.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that was a while. I think we work together now. Good now.
Yeah,
Hmm.
no, we do. There was a lot that we had to like, it was the trying to figure out why we weren't really working together the best at certain points.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where like I do harp on, partnerships are like a marriage. And that's why I say that because it really is. And that's something that we've, or at least I can speak for myself. I don't know if I can speak entirely for Haley. One of the biggest lessons that we've learned through all of this was if we did want to succeed, we had to succeed with each other first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you had to right. You had to
Yeah.
go through that struggle, right? Or even just that pain point of figuring out where you guys both fit into the business and where you fit in together in building the thing, right? And then
Yeah.
figuring out how to have those because look, there's still difficult conversations that have to be had on maybe
You
not on
can't
a
run away from
even
them.
as just partners, right?
yeah,
In a
Yeah.
business,
yeah,
not
Yeah.
just
yeah,
throwing in the fact that you guys are together in life,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
just partnership alone can be,
Well,
But the interesting thing about it is when there's difficult conversations as opposed to team or partners, what I've noticed is you get faster feedback loops because with teams or partners, you're communicating, you never really raising tone or anything, but sometimes, it'll get a little heated with conversations and
mhm,
then, it'll cool off. Then we'll talk about it. Then it'll be fixed like that. But with
mhm.
teams or partners, it's one meeting and then things are getting sat on or we're thinking about it and one person wants this, another wants that, so this person's trying to bend a little, this person's trying to bend, or maybe you have a person that won't bend, and it can be weeks or months of not a lot of progress. But with us working together and being together, we have those really fast feedback loops.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
That's a
But
really
we
good.
also have another individual that will kickstart something like to answer your question from earlier, Justin, when the moment that I realized that we can actually do this and pull it off and be successful.
Mhm.
Um, just like a lot of other things, I have to give the credit to Haley for that.
Oh,
Because things that I have done like leading up to, yeah, a lot of people know of the systems in sync zooms that were being run and things like that. Like, that I considered the catalyst to all of this. And that wasn't even me that pushed into doing that. That was literally Haley one day went under my name and did a post saying that there was going to be a Zoom. And now it's just like, oh shit, I actually have to show up for it. I have no choice at this point.
yeah, I've
And
done
then it
that to
just went from
people.
there. Yeah,
I've
it
done
just
that to
went from there.
people to get them going. I'm like, well, you spoke about it. Let's get it going. Let's
Yeah.
yeah.
go. You
Yeah.
know?
Same with your school community too for a little bit. That was an add-on to the coaching business. And, I kept bringing it up and eventually you started that, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Which is turning out good, James.
Yeah. It's moving faster than we thought.
It's good in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
awesome.
that's not all me though. We've got a couple solid people,
Mm, yes.
that are.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm just saying though, like there's a good thing going on in there so far.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. I know I've only shown up like I think what once or twice. No, but that was a really good meeting. I enjoyed that meeting very much. I'm gonna be definitely coming back. And Pansy was the one that reminded me about it, and I was like, oh crap, yeah, you know what? Let's do that.
Yeah, I need to figure out how I can get paid for that because I remind you and quite a few people that they have things at
Yeah,
base that they
yeah,
wanted to do.
yeah,
Justin, we should hire Pansy on as your EA
yeah.
temporarily.
I'm trying to see how Pansy can get paid for it too. So, let me ask you guys a question. So you guys are, even though you're a couple in business, you guys are both founders, right? Essentially, right? And so you guys both have the autonomy to make decisions separately. If there's like a really difficult decision that needs to be made, I'm sure you guys come together and discuss it, but like decisions, day-to-day decisions, what does that look like? Do you guys allow each other to just kind of,
Oh
for
yeah.
the smaller stuff,
Yeah.
like just whatever it is, just make the decision and we'll deal with it, or do you guys have to discuss everything?
Nope.
Yeah. I,
Yeah, it's literally just decisions being made. Sorry, Haley, go ahead. I'll
I
let you
was
go.
just gonna say a good example of it is so I'm on his Facebook more than him posting or
Yeah,
generating leads, conversations and stuff. Like I'll have
yeah,
a conversation and then he'll pick it up after, one or two back and forths. There are most of the time, there are some times where I'll try different things and I know it'll be safe, but
hmm
sometimes I'll want to be going like with a different angle and I'll be like,
hmm
hey, can I post this? I went with this angle and this is why I wanted to see what you think about it. And I probably only do that, a couple times a month, but very rarely do you ever say not to or it's not good. Sometimes you'll have a change or an addition and an explanation on why, but that's kind of a good example I can think of there.
Okay.
Well, that's one of the key components is the communication. And again, Haley is talking about the feedback loops.
Yeah.
There isn't anything that we do that isn't talked about at some point beforehand. Like we've gone so deep into what this is going to look like so many years from now that it's kind of ingrained. Like that clarity is there,
Yeah,
and
that's good. That's
yeah,
really good.
and it doesn't matter if it's, if it's a couple in business or if you're talking about a partnership or even just having team members. I think that's what changed everything for us was actually laying out a very clear, definitive vision of where everything was going, and then understanding truly like what part each of us played into that vision from that higher level. It's like anything that's under this category you fully own, anything that's under this category you fully own, but at the same time the really big things we do have those discussions.
Yeah.
What allows us to be able to make our own decisions is, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for Haley
You're
on
kind
this.
of like one brain essentially,
Yeah,
right?
correct
Like,
me if I'm wrong, but it's like,
yeah,
does it feed the overall purpose or no? If it does,
right.
all right. It Haley said something earlier. It's
Yeah.
it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission sometimes. And one of the things that we have butt heads with is not really seeing the vision behind the decision being made from the other person. So
Right.
it wasn't clearly communicated in a way that we understood.
Right.
Once we started understanding how to communicate to each other what the vision was behind why we were doing something or why we did it, it just started to make things so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it takes, look, how long did it take you guys to get to that point? May I ask? Like
I
where it was
think
kind of
about
like,
last year, I'd
was it?
say.
Okay. Okay.
like
I feel
actual
like,
work about a year.
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
Okay. I was gonna say it does like that clarity work, man. It
oh,
can, it can take time, right? And that's what I have to remind myself of is like, sometimes it doesn't, as much as hard as you think you're working on something or whatever it is, like sometimes it just takes time to get to that point, right? Where that clarity sinks in.
yeah,
But you do have to kind of put that work in to get there.
yeah. But then
So
the understanding that we both perceive and we both soak in, we both understand information completely different.
yeah, that's Interesting point. And but that's good though, right? You want that. You want to be looking at that's kind of, if I had to put my finger on something that is like the the most powerful point of couples in business is that, well, like you said, the instant sort of feedback loops that you guys can
Yeah.
create, but also you guys both have this sort of clear vision, but you both are also looking at it in two different ways. You know what I mean? In two distinct ways, and can bring that feedback to the table that quickly, right? So that's huge.
I think
So
that's the power behind it, to be honest, is
yeah,
that most people don't get that. Like when the word CEO gets thrown around so much, the word leader gets thrown around so much.
it does.
And there was another term that was brought up. Somebody actually, I think they're in here, is the God complex, and it ends up getting brought up.
Mhm.
And you see a lot of people that get into that mode after a while of doing things. What I personally like about building a business with a spouse over anybody else is consistently being challenged. As
Yeah.
crazy as it sounds, but the consistently being
I
challenged,
like
we're
it.
always challenging each other
I
on
can see how
everything.
that is challenging.
But some of the best decisions that we've made have happened on the other end of challenging each other on, why did you make that decision? Why did you do that? Why
Yeah.
did you make that? Well, this.
Yeah.
Well, this from this side, this is from this side. Okay. Now that we have both perspectives and we had the conversation about it, how do we either resolve an issue that ended up happening because of that decision, or since the decision worked, and now that we both talked about it, how can we actually make the outcome better the next time? So it's a win-win either way, in my humble opinion.
I love that. How do you guys, can you describe a little bit, because it can't just be business all the time, right? So it's good you call each other out, you have those discussions, right? But obviously there's got to be a demarc, right? There's got to be a point where, okay, we need to focus on life stuff and family stuff. Like, do
Mm.
you guys like explain how you guys balance that out?
Hmm.
I feel like we kind of just integrate it more than
Yeah. Yeah.
anything rather
Okay.
than balance it.
Yeah, that
We'll
makes
go
sense.
to family parties or something, and sometimes he'll be in the basement on a call, or he'll be on a
Nice.
Zoom and I'll jump on the Zoom, or we were at the beach yesterday and you're sending voice messages,
Hey,
or you'll be driving and I'll be, doing some work on my phone for
yeah.
you.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, it's because some people, in some couples, it's like, look, when we're working on the business, it's all business, and then they kind of turn it off, and then it's family, and like they have that side of it, right? But you
We
guys are
absolutely do
integrating
that.
it, yeah.
Yeah, we
Well,
But
still
you're
have
not,
to.
but you're not afraid to integrate. Like,
I
you
would
got to do
say
what you got
because
to
at
do.
that point it's kind of just like a lifestyle, right?
It
Yeah,
is. Yeah,
You
it
yeah,
know,
definitely is. I
yeah,
think
because there's different aspects to building a business, and then obviously because you guys do live together and and have a child together and everything,
yeah,
you can't necessarily. I mean, I could see where you could on certain times or days, like, nope, absolutely no work, right?
yeah,
But at the same time, you guys doing your business while you are still participating with your son and each other shows him that you can work well together, right?
hmm,
As not only just business partners, but as a family and integrate it together. And I don't think many families do that well. That's why possibly
yeah,
maybe a lot of families, their children don't want to pick up the business, right?
hmm,
You know, um, so I
yeah.
think, yeah, I think it could be good for sure.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like kids aren't dumb. How old's your kiddos or kiddo?
he's 9.
9.
He's
He'll
not.
be
Yeah.
10 in
See,
November.
they see that stuff. They absorb that stuff. They're not dumb. Like, they're recognizing and seeing all that stuff. It's like, yeah, why would I want to have anything to do with my family's business if like I see every time there's any business stuff going on with mom and dad, they like fight. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have anything to do with that. It
Yeah.
just seems like a big stress ball that I'm just gonna keep myself out of.
The kids pick up on a lot though, because there'll be times that I'll either just get done a Zoom, or I'll let them know that I have a call or a
Hmm.
meeting, And then
Mm-hmm.
he'll ask me, he's like, is this for the team, for the community? Is this a closing call? Is this a
Nice.
lead? Is this a client
Nice.
call? You know, he's just like generally interested. What
Yeah.
type of call is it? But when he
Nice.
does have the moments where he's like, you can say when he's feeling a little neglected,
Mm-hmm.
he'll ask me if I can skip it. Like we had there was a Zoom Wednesday night. Uh Wednesday nights I usually protect, and Sundays I usually protect to hang out with him while Haley's at yoga.
Yeah.
And in the community, I've been jumping on all of the Zooms for support for the other individuals. Even though they're theirs, I'm still there.
Yeah.
You got to be in a supportive role. And we were sitting there, we're playing Uno, and I have the phone propped up, and I'm just listening in. My camera's off, and he's like, "I don't really want to play Uno because you have a Zoom on, and Uno's boring." I'm like, "Dude, but I'm not talking on this one." He goes,
Yeah.
"But can you leave it?" And I'm like, yeah. And I walked over to the
Nice.
side. I jumped in. I was like, "Hey guys, I apologize. I'm gonna dip out for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Jasper is a little bit upset, so I am gonna go show some attention to him."
Yeah. Good.
Hop right
Good.
down. So he
Yeah.
gets to see all of those things, like building the business. There are times that we have those choices to be able to do that, and we can still take care of things like that when they pop up. Like if he needs that time, he gets that time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. So you guys kind of built those boundaries. That was going to be my question, is that, like, do you have those boundaries sort of, especially when, we're talking about your kid and take care of your kid. So who out of the two you see tends to be the bigger, like,
Hold on,
risk?
Justin. I want to go back to what you were
Oh,
saying about the boundaries things.
oh, go for it.
So, is it safe to say that you guys built more of your business around your family life,
Oh,
not
definitely.
building the family life around the business?
Definitely.
Ooh,
I
that's a
feel
good
like,
question.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. And I feel like what we do, especially now that he's in school while summer's happening, but I think we tend to do a lot of our focused work on separate ends of the house while he's in school. And then the unfocused work, like the little tiny things, like if you're answering, messages or whatnot, we'll do that out and about. Or if I'm, kind of working on something, I'll do that out and about, or we'll just be kind of talking or strategizing.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of like the focused work we kind of do while he's at school.
Mm-hmm.
And now the summertime's here, and where we'll be gearing things up, we'll be alleviating Haley of responsibilities so she can actually go take him to do things and keep him occupied, and have a lot of those fun times. And then I'll have days through the summer where I'll take the day off and go with them to do that. Like I just got season passes for the water park, with friends passes, so they can take one of his friends a couple times. And these are the decisions that you end up making and things that you do as a couple in business.
Yeah.
I got one gold pass and two just standard passes, but and this is something I know a lot of people will think about in a different mindset, is if I'm paying for it, I get the gold pass. Like I'm the one that gets the luxury pass. No, that luxury pass I bought is in Haley's name. And then I took the downgrade, and it's like,
Mhm.
because I know over the summer, there's going to be more room for flexibility for her to just be able, I could just go, "Hey, like you don't have to worry about anything today. I just have a couple
Mhm.
calls. I don't need any of this stuff to be done. Go take him and go to the water park. I'll sit back and I'll
Mhm.
do this. Go grab his friend. You guys go have fun."
Nice.
Now there's
Nice.
no need for, them to have to call me to confirm that she's using my pass or whatever.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
You gave
Absolutely.
up the luxury gold ticket, James? Like, really,
yeah, I
man?
gave up the luxury gold. I don't know what I was thinking.
I thought you were going to get
Ah,
that. I didn't even think of that though,
bro.
when you asked, should I put the luxury in your name? I was thinking put it in your name, but then when you asked and explained why, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes more sense. Good idea.
I
Right.
love it.
Because I'll go
Whoever's going to
without him,
spend
but
the
he
most
won't go
time,
without me.
yeah,
Well, yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
I love
I
it.
Yeah, so I was actually, the question I was asking is a minute ago was, and I think I may know the answer to this, but maybe you can tell me. Of the two of you, who's the bigger risk taker and who tends to be the more cautious one?
I think you're the bigger. I think it's pretty even.
Now, yeah.
I think you by a couple hairs.
Okay.
Now.
I don't
It
know if it's
used to be
risk, but I
Hayley.
think it's faster action. I kind of like with something big, I kind of
Ooh,
like to think
interesting.
about it a little bit and
Yeah, yeah,
analyze it and come back to it in a day
yeah,
or two.
yeah,
But he moves on action. He gets his best work done when he has an idea and implements it right away.
yeah,
That's like kind of his zone of genius. For me, I really like to, and I think I'm better at kind of just sitting on it for a little bit, not too long, not like analysis paralysis, but I like to play, the
yeah,
sequence of events. Um,
yeah.
Especially depending on how big the decision is.
Which
Okay.
is funny because it used to be the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Wow.
His
Well,
version of me was I was the safe boy. I was like, nope, absolutely not. Like,
and that's where okay, and because that's where my mind went. I was like, I picture James being more of the sort of cautious, maybe. And actually what I was thinking is both of you tend to be a little bit more cautious, but that's where I saw James. But now, I mean, that makes sense. You've kind of graduated now. It's just like, look, I know what it needs to happen, and the
Exactly.
faster I can get after it, the you know, the
That's me. If
So
faster
I
the
things
sit
are.
on
line
something
fast
too,
action.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, if I sit on something too long, I'll just say, forget it.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
if I
I'm
don't
about
do
this, yeah.
something right
I'm-
away about it, you know,
yeah, it's
yeah,
gone. I'm the same. I'm like that with my work too. Is like if I am deep in focus work, well, you guys know I always talk about all the time how I
yeah,
can't read and talk at the same time. But I'm like that with my with the focus work too. Like if I have my mindset on doing something, if you pull me away from that, chances of me going back to getting that done are slim to none. I'm
Was
already
that
yeah,
moving on to the next thing that I want to implement
yeah,
when when that time frees up and allows. Where I am cautious is saying yes to opportunities. That's something that I've been a lot more cautious with over the last couple of years. And that's because a lot of the situations and the things that we've gone through, but truly understanding what does and does not fit with where we're trying to take things.
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that's the best place to have caution too, because I feel like in the beginning I was more of the risk taker and you were more cautious, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was kind of like, you're living on the dream, what's idealistic, and it's like, oh, let's just do this. That's how I kind of was. Whereas
yeah,
you still didn't fully believe in all in this. You're like, I don't know about this. I don't know. There was no proof and concept. But now that it's been so many years and we've had so much proof and concept throughout different businesses, it's kind of like we're basically on the same wavelength, with caution. And it's not like he does anything crazy, like he's not going to go spend
That's
10
cheating.
grand on the business tomorrow or anything like that. But
yeah.
they're always good actions.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah,
And and in that, like, there's going to be those seasons where, as you guys are making decisions, things are happening. There's going to be life happens, right? So you guys get the seasons where there's something stressful with the business and life at the same time. This is my biggest thing, man. Like I have to just literally get up and walk away for a little bit. Otherwise, like I literally have to just stand up, take a decompression, just walk away for just a little bit and come back to it. Otherwise, if I try and sit there and power through something when I'm getting hit from all angles, sometimes you have no choice. I get that. But for you guys, when that's happening, when the business is stressful and life is stressful at the same time, like how do you maybe you can describe to us how you guys handled some of those seasons?
Oh, I love it because when I'm having a day like that and I'll be telling him, I feel like, this and this is happening. I feel like, I can't get anything done, but I know it needs to get done. He'll tell me to just take the day. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like I needed that permission. And I do.
Right.
I
Right.
can't, if I planned on just taking the day, the next day is going to be worse. And the next day, but when he says it, I do take the day and the next day is better.
Yeah, that's not that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
yeah.
So it's like
Yep.
things are okay.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
gonna say, I'll have to say, Justin is terrible at taking a day.
Mm-hmm.
I, on the other hand, am like, dude, I'm taking a day.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna want me to,
Mm-hmm.
It
you
you
Mm-hmm.
know?
gotta,
when she
you
comes to
definitely
me,
have to.
she's like,
Yeah, you
I
have to
need,
though.
yeah, when she comes to me, she's like, I need some time and I don't feel like I did enough. I'm like, well, what did you do today? and then she'll spit off a couple things. I was like, are those the priority things? And she'll be like, yeah. I'm like, all right, then what do you need to do the rest of the day? Like,
The other
there's no
100
point.
things.
There's no
Yeah.
point exerting if you've already done the things that were necessary, like the required items, the
Yeah.
things that are actually going to move the needle are done. You're no use to me trying to hammer through anything else. And I don't say that, I don't mean to say that in a way that sounds any type of way, but you're no use to me, you're no use to the business, you're no use to yourself, you're no use to him if you're going to keep trying to muscle through that.
Yeah. It doesn't do anybody any good, right?
Yeah.
Pansy's right. I'm awful with that. And this is why like I sometimes get to those points where it's like I gotta kick the chair out from underneath me and just go walk away for a little bit. You know what I mean? And decompress. It's like it shouldn't get to that point, but it
I
does sometimes,
I
you
had to
know?
physically shut the laptop, push the chair back, and then just kind of sit there for a moment.
Yeah.
It can be anywhere from 5 minutes to 45 minutes,
Yeah.
but sometimes it just has to be done.
Oh man.
I go for a walk or try to get completely like away. I
Oh yeah,
don't want to even see the electronics sometimes.
he'll
I'm
tell me
Yeah.
like,
to go for a walk, or sometimes he'll just set out my yoga mat for me and not even
there
say
you go.
anything. It's like,
There you go.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
But the fact that you guys, I like hearing that. The fact that like you can get the permission from each other, right? Like, look, as long as you're taking care of the priority, and that's the thing, keep the important stuff, and take care of that. All the other stuff can wait, right? And if you've taken care of that and you're still getting, your hair's still on fire, it's like take some time. So. Well, let me ask you this. What advice would you give? And by the way, I'm going to stop real quick for folks who are on with us. First of all, thank you guys all for jumping on with us. If you guys have questions, just raise your hand and we'll bring you up. You know, I'm sure if any of you guys have questions for me, Pansy, Haley, James, whatever, just raise your hand and come up.
I'm not, I
Um,
take the night off. I'm not answering no
yeah, I'm
question.
not answering. No, I already,
He's
I
like,
already made that.
screw that.
Yeah, don't ask me questions. Um,
That's
what?
okay. Haley's here. She's got it covered.
James, you have the most brain power at night. I feel like 9 to
Yeah,
She's like,
11,
I'm
you're just
feeling.
yeah,
boom, 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 whether
She's
it's
like, this
yeah,
is
talking to me.
almost my bedtime.
yeah. You know what's funny, James? Do you ever get those moments like, okay, this is how it is for me. I feel like towards the end of the day, because I still work a W-2, I feel like towards the end of the day, I feel like I'm tired, but then as I turn away from the W-2 stuff, I take a little bit of a break and I'm like trying to relax. I get this wind of energy
Third
that I
wind.
wasn't
I,
yeah,
I call it the motivation wind
that's
because when you're
yeah.
building towards something like, and I know you and Pansy both personally, and I know the things that you guys have going on the back end,
Mm-hmm.
and both of the business models that you guys are currently focusing on are there's a purpose behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And like in the very beginning of us doing this, when I was still actually doing a W-2, and Justin, you and I talked about this. I went back. I'm a late bloomer with getting my diploma. I went back to school, got my diploma because I didn't want to go the GED route. And
Mm-hmm.
initially, I was going to go into the workforce for coding.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got home from the W-2, I didn't want to touch any of that stuff. The restaurant industry that I 70 plus hours a week,
Yeah.
I didn't want to touch it.
Mm-hmm.
But once we started doing things with this, like no matter what I do all day long, we can go to the beach. I can literally physically drain myself out. That motivational third wind hits at the end of the
Yeah.
night, still ends up pulling me through.
Yeah. Yeah. So you and I are on the same page there for sure.
I
It's
get
that's
the late night stuff, but usually people, when my stuff happens, usually people are sleeping. I'm
See,
like,
Justin and I get to work on building stuff at that point. Like we just sit in front of the computer and tinker around and do that.
yeah, but again, you have to be so careful with that, right? You and I've had this conversation, James, too. Like you got to be so careful because what it is it's just another form of procrastination, or it will become another form of procrastination, right? So you got to be careful. But I think you're right. I think it's the motivation win that hits. And granted, is that like that every night for me? No, but like most nights I do get that second or third wind, and and I try and do the focus stuff that needs to be done, and I try and prioritize as much as I can. Um, the most important stuff that needs to get done. For us, like right now, it's literally it's pretty simple. It's just, we need make money, right? Let's make money. Let's like get that happening as fast as possible and keep doing that, right?
Yeah.
But it can't just be about the money. And I
No.
know it's not just about the money for Pansy. It's not just about the money for me either. But it is,
I don't think it's just about the money for James
I
and
don't
Hayley.
either. I don't either.
No, I was just say there's,
Are you
and I
sure? I
know
thought
some
James was all
people
about the
just,
money.
yeah, but sometimes, yeah, there would be
It
people
is
that'll
so far
definitely
from being
disagree.
about the money. It's not even funny. Like
Yeah.
even in like personal life when we've had times of like struggle, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I know there are people out there that'll 100% disagree with me on it, but I can only tell you from my own personal experience, anytime that I actually focused on only the money, I got no money. When I stopped focusing on the money and start focusing on what exactly it was that I was doing, how was I actually helping people? Was I actually helping people?
Mm-hmm.
That's when the money started to flow. Like
Yeah.
And it's easy when you love what you're doing
Yeah.
and you have clarity on where you're going and you
Mm-hmm.
know what you're doing is going to make a direct or an indirect impact and you
Oh,
enjoy it.
yep. I mean, we've
Yeah.
had times where it's like, oh man, all these bills are due. This is due. This is due. This has to happen. That has to happen. And I've gone face down work for without coming up for air for 2, 3 weeks straight and
Mm-hmm.
had zero results yielded from it. But the moment I take a step back, I'm like, you know what? Like we have systems, we have processes. I have to rely on those. There's nothing that I'm going to do in my current state that's going to solve it immediately today. And we've had conversations like this as well. Getting upset about it, what is that going to solve? Getting irritated about it, what is that actually going to solve in the moment, aside from being fuel to a fire that's going to end up getting so out of control that you're not going to be able to do anything with it. So again, once I shifted the focus to let's not be about the money. Those are the weeks that I've made the most amount of money.
Yeah, that's amazing. And by the way, there's a really good point you just made. It's like you can let the upsettedness rile you up to the point where you're useless, or you can decide to you know, focus on what really matters. Like getting upset about it, even though as I'm sitting here saying this, like I literally still catch myself doing this periodically, but you can whip yourself into a tailspin, and you're just going to crash basically, and then you're going to be used, and you've now lost that entire day or week or whatever it is,
3 weeks. Yeah.
3 weeks, whatever it is, right? And just like it's like you can't force it, right? And I don't know. It's one of those things you do got to watch out for, but I think again, comes back to taking some time, having clarity, right? Knowing what you're truly doing and why you're doing it, and not focusing on the money, because it's the same for me too. Like I've made money when I haven't been focused on the money. It's kind of weird how that works, right? When you
Yeah.
actually focus on what's the problem you're solving, right, for people, and how are you helping people, then all of a sudden it starts to come to fruition, as
Yeah.
opposed to the other way around. Yeah, for
Is it
sure.
all right if I highlight something real quick from the comments?
Sure.
Anna had just said that there was a moment of clarity that she had during a conversation the other day that she was focusing on moving the needle where it matters daily
Hmm.
versus remaining in a state of overwhelm. And I think a lot of people get in that place where they're stuck in that state of overwhelm. But that was actually a really good conversation that we had that day, because when you allow yourself, give yourself some grace, you allow yourself to take a breath, you'll start to realize that you're fully capable of doing exactly what needs to be done to get that outcome that you're after. 9 times out of the 10, you know enough to be able to do it. You have the resources to be able to do it. But when
Hmm.
you can't give yourself a moment to again breathe, have that grace to like really take a look and understand what you have sitting in front of you, you're most likely you're not going to be able to move the needle the way that you actually want to.
Yeah.
It becomes detrimental, and this is where I humbly feel, and again there are people that will disagree with me with what I have to say, um and or might think of it a little bit differently, but you're never going to move the needle in that state of overwhelm. You're never truly going to see what you actually have. You're never going to be able to reflect appropriately when you're there. So if you can give yourself a moment to pull back, you'd be very surprised at what you can truly uncover. The reason that that conversation is a huge takeaway for me, just like many other times that I've had this same exact conversation over and over with people, is we've got to the points where people want to make these moves that they think are going to be the best move for them. And they're talking about like literally uprooting and trying something completely different and so off the beaten path of what they're doing, that if you take a moment, you stop and you question like, oh, wait, so you've done something like this before? How come you can't do it now? Oh, you're right. I've done this before. Oh, I know these people, or I know, this path, or I know that this is a good way to actually generate leads for what it is that I'm trying to do. Like
Yeah.
taking that step allows us to start thinking about a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, think about it too. When you're stressing out, when you're whipping yourself up, that whole creative part of your brain shuts down.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was reading about that the other day, how fear
And it's
shuts down
100%
creativity.
Well,
true.
yeah, when you're just like, which way do I go? And
Yeah.
so much is happening, and
Mm-hmm.
all of this, you really do shut down in many ways.
Yep.
And a lot of times, if somebody's not there to help you rein it back in,
Mm-hmm.
it can get bad.
Yeah,
you
it can
know
get bad. It can get bad.
And this
It can
is
become
why I
perpetual.
understand people, and that's why I'm building my business around people.
Now, there's something that I've
Awesome.
If you're
very-
there, come see me, because we've got you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
it's funny too, because there's something that I have everybody, and I'm thinking about actually going back and adding it into the cadence builder. And Justin, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about as you work through that.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of the things that I force anybody that I work with to do is take a complete day, and don't do anything that's work related. I don't care if reading books is your jam and that's how you like spending your time, read the books, read the motivational books, read the self-development books. But if you have a thought as it pertains to business or what you're building, don't do anything with that thought. Park it, write it down, have a notebook with you, write it down, leave it there, move on, continue to read. Don't let it become about work. And I've had multiple people at this time, and George is a really good example of this at the moment, because he's been implementing that with so many things right now in his daily routine, in his schedule, to where it's focused time on that and not setting that boundary. But the amount of clarity that he's getting and the moves that he's been making within his business when he comes back to the business after that is he's done a year's worth of work in a short couple months comparative to what he's tried to do over the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
That one small thing, and it's been amazing to watch.
Is that like, okay, so when you say he's doing this on a daily basis, so is he doing like where or is he taking the day and then coming back? Is that what you meant? Because maybe I
So
misheard
he
it.
takes the day and comes back, but he's forming his like daily rituals.
Oh, I got you.
Like
Okay.
now he's going on a run and he'll listen to an audiobook. But
Yeah.
instead of like really going down the beaten path of like, how can this be implemented in my business? He just allows himself to soak it in and park that and continue working through that. And then coming back later in the day, I'm like, all right, now that I understand this and I've been able to do it with a clear mind
Yeah.
and understand where I'm at in the business, that's where the light bulbs start going off. And then that's
Nice.
where like he'll come back like, dude, I was actually thinking about this while I was listening to that. I came back, I sat down for a half an hour after, clear level head, thought this through. Here are the two options. What do you think that I should do? Like, well, dude, what do you think that you should do? Like you just laid out the options. Have you actually wrote down or thought about what you just told me when you were telling me about those two options, like what those pros and cons were? It's like, well, now that I say it out loud, it's like, all right, well, I think you have your answer.
Yeah. I think
you
we're
have
our
your
own
answer
worst
very
critics.
clearly.
Can we go back, James, when you were talking about taking a day and then like really sticking with that if you're reading the book and you get, an urge to go start
Because that's
thinking or
really
working.
hard for me.
It
That's
is hard.
Well,
really
yes,
hard.
it is. But it was hard for me too on things like that.
Same
But
here.
I've spoken about it like plenty of times that I went through some health issues and everything. And like part of getting myself better was implementing those types of things. Like, as much as I wanted to do something because it was bothering me and it needed to get done, it was still a boundary that I was breaking.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. At least it's not going to get done in this time period.
Not right now. Yeah.
Right.
It's a
Like
habit.
whatever it was, or
What you'll often find is a lot of these
Yeah.
things that end up becoming that afterthought that are crowding the spaces of that protected time that you're trying to set aren't as much as a priority as we're making them out to be in our mind at that time. Like,
yeah, no,
I
you're not
really
wrong.
had to get really well versed at telling myself that doing it now, like right this moment, stopping, dropping everything and going and doing that isn't going to change anything. It can wait till tomorrow. That's fine.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Haley
yeah.
sometimes doesn't like what I say that about things, but it's like, no, that can actually wait till tomorrow. Because whether I do it now or whether I do it tomorrow, we're gonna get the same outcome. I don't need to stop and uproot and like literally stop everything that I'm doing to handle that right in the moment.
Yeah. But I wanted to go back to that because I don't know exactly which book, but there was a book that I read about it. Who that one
Was it
everybody's name.
was it in Who Not How?
No, it was not Who Not How.
Oh,
This was more along the lines of actually like a meditation type or whatever, like literally do not do anything type of thing. Like sit
funny you
there
bring up meditation.
for 15
Yeah.
minutes and just don't do a dang thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you do that? Can you sit still? Can you not move? Can you not think about this? Can you not just be?
Yeah.
And that is something that I got
It's
from this
humans,
book.
Yeah.
And like that, I did it, but I'm telling you, like, if you can get to that point where you can take that in and do that, a lot of other things get easier. But I used to have to think that I had to move on everything or whatever, you know, and I couldn't do like just rest, right? Because I was a mom of several kids, house, whatever, all of it, you know. So it was like if I took a minute, I was still thinking about, okay, what still has to be done? How am I going to get this done? Like, okay, you know, mapping out essentially the next several hours of my day. And it was constantly like that. I did not really stop
So
and
it's funny
really
that you bring
take a
that up.
break, you know.
Yeah, it's so funny that you bring that up because
I gotta figure
meditation
out that
really
dang
was.
book. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you
it's
gotta let me
driving
know
me
what book
crazy.
it is. Because meditation was kind of the spiral that I was going down when I was trying to implement this. And Creighton Bertrand was the individual that I was actually having a very good in-depth conversation about it. And we were talking about like I was telling him like I realize why now I'm having such a difficult time actually taking that full day because just like you said is like planning things out. It's like when I want to take that day of rest, like I'll plan to try to meditate. I don't know how to meditate, but I'm going to plan to try to meditate and then I start planning everything I'm doing after that. And then all of a sudden I'm right back into doing work all day long. And he asked me about my like how do you meditate? Like, what do you do? I was like, dude, I have no idea. Like, I'm still stuck on figuring out the best type of music to listen to or type of audios or like, should I have candles lit? Should I be in a dark room? Let me stop you there. He goes, why does the music matter? He's like, if you break it down to the fundamental, meditating has nothing to do with the music, has nothing to do with the candles, has nothing to do with the light. It, the only thing it has to do is, can you stop for 15 minutes and just sit there? That is it. That is meditation.
Yep.
And I was like, I wouldn't have known that because you're looking into it, you're looking at other people that are doing it. You've got this person telling you to have this type of music, this type of binaural beat, or, listen to this person that'll walk you through the meditation so you can have a guided meditation. And that was what really simplified it. He was right. He's like,
It all works. I mean, but
there.
not necessarily for everyone. Everybody has their own thing. But specifically, this book was all about absolutely nothing, like nothing, right? As
That's
much
what he said. He was like, just breathe. If you want to focus on something, focus on breathing.
Yeah.
But don't do anything. Just sit there. You don't have to sit. You don't have to. You don't necessarily have to stand, sit a certain way. Sit.
yeah, just be
Yep.
and not think about so much.
That's
right? We
really
spend
hard.
so
It's a
much
lot
time.
harder than it sounds.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like
So-
for me, I don't know, I mean, this is kind of a form of meditation. I can't do the 15 minutes, nothing, but I can do yin yoga where within 15 minutes I can do 2 or 3 poses. So I move like, you know, 2 or 3 times and I'm
I
in
do different
focus,
forms of yoga
and I
too.
love that. I love it.
Yoga is amazing. Like it helped bring me back to life for real.
It does.
And it's funny too, because it is a habit. It's just like anything else. It's a habit that you have to build. And it's funny too, because now Hayley kind of knows when I'm having those moments, because it comes back to the joke of like when a guy's sitting there staring out into space, what's really going on in their head. And I am the type of guy that would always say nothing. And Hayley's like, there's no way, it's nothing. Like you're in that stare, you're thinking about something. And I'm like, no, literally nothing. Like I'm just existing right now in the moment.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
But we think it's so wrong to do that. Like,
It's
know,
not
and
right. Yeah.
we really need to. We really need to do that sometimes.
Yeah. And by the way, guys have an innate ability to do that.
I'm well aware, Justin. Well aware.
Yeah. So, so let me ask you guys this because we're getting towards the end here. Actually, we are at the end, a little over. But what advice would you guys give to maybe some other couples who are thinking about getting into business together, but maybe are nervous or second guessing themselves, and how it could affect their relationship? Like, what advice would you give them? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of
Sorry, would you mind asking it
broad
one more
advice.
time?
Yeah, again, I would love to hear your guys' advice that you'd have for other couples who are considering getting into business, but are maybe just nervous about how it's going to affect their relationship. What advice would you give them?
I'd say your partner can either be your best or worst partner. Your spouse can be and it's up to you to decide what which direction you go. But the faster you can communicate, get clarity on what you're doing and where you're going, and especially focus on your individual strengths and how your strengths play into each other's weaknesses. So kind of like a puzzle, like what do you have and what do you need? And then maybe if you need to outsource anything, whether that be a tool, a person, maybe even another strategy. That's kind of what we do, because we do a lot of focus on our strengths and weaknesses together. And it's kind of almost like our default is to look for another way to achieve the same result that we want, but where we're both doing things we're good at and we like, rather than this over here where maybe one of us doesn't like or isn't good at it and don't want it. It's like, hey, we can get the same result and just do it a different way.
Right. That's amazing. Well, and I think if more people spent that time really talking with each other and analyzing their strengths and weaknesses, like that alone
Yes.
elevate them way beyond where they think they are able to go,
You
right?
really will.
For my advice would be something that Hayley kind of brought up in what she was talking about. Don't do what we did and do it backwards. We went the business route and then started working on the relationship when we realized that there were relationship problems midway through. If you are a couple that wants to be doing business together, I would highly recommend focus on your relationship first.
That's a good one.
That you have a foundation with your relationship before you move over into business, or else it'll be extremely difficult to separate the two later on.
But we did it. I feel like all those rough patches made our relationship a lot stronger, and I'm really glad for that.
Oh yeah, we've quit on each other in business. I can't tell you how many times over.
Yeah,
like
hey,
literally said, I quit. I'm not working with you anymore. Figure it out tomorrow. So many times over.
Yeah.
But the moment that it really started changing.
Me and Justin have had a couple of those moments.
But that's a part of it. That's a part of it. But and that's how you know if you keep going, you work it out and you keep going, you're only going to get
No.
stronger. Or it's like you can almost can't help it. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for jumping on here with us. This was
Yeah.
actually really good. I would love to have you guys back on again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. This was
And catch
great.
it.
I
Yeah.
love
For
it.
having us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
thanks
guys
for
like,
coming.
yeah, you guys have a ton of insights, especially working together and Haley, you working with James, you know, it's only made both of you guys stronger at what you do and you know how you guys manage the business. So yeah, let's definitely catch up again. I'd like to have you guys both back on again at
Yeah,
some
for
point.
sure.
So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here and everybody else who's on here. We hang out after the podcast for a little bit. So if you guys want to hang out and, ask off the record, obviously you're welcome to hang out with us. So, but thank you again, everybody's watching. We appreciate all you guys. Like and
Thanks.
subscribe, and we will talk to you guys next week too. So see you again.